sensations on the genitals too, etc. There are also body movements such as rocking my pelvic area back and forth, repeated rubbing sensations, the sensation of something going up my crotch and in and out, etc. They also often force vaginal discharges and zap my genitals at the same time. These sexual assaults are present throughout the day, every day, and anytime I am awakened at night, every night. They range from mild to extreme, but usually involve daily and nightly continuous assaults for the past 3 years now. When severe, the zaps to the genitals feel as though someone is electrocuting my genitals repeatedly. I also often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes. It also includes, currently a speech language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic. And they used her to threaten the most torture in me, as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions, despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. In one session, the 5-year-old girl with Down syndrome chose to play with the Red Rover electronic toy dog that calls out the color of the bones that the child is supposed to put in his mouth. This child started saying the colors of the bones before the dog would call them out, and she was correct every time. And since the V2K uses colors as symbols for torture as well, they were using this to threaten more severe torture in me. I also have had a couple of kids that experienced zaps of pain to their hands as they covered the sore spot with their other hand, saying, "Ouch." While the V2K in my head talks about masturbation, they talk about masturbation frequently and other sexual things. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain. I asked him what was wrong and if he needed to use the restroom, but he said no to having to use the restroom and was not able to verbalize anything more due to his language delay. He looked puzzled and bewildered. Even though I had stated that it was time to do more work right before this incident, I quickly just let him play another game, and he quickly returned to his joyful, happy self again. In other sessions, he has also grabbed his crotch and said, "Ow," while looking up at me. A while back, I had a 4-year-old client at my office who complained of disturbing sounds in his ears when none were around. It only happened as soon as he entered my office. Once he complained of a roaring, drilling construction sound in his ears that I then later heard myself when I got home as a form of V2K, and the V2K said, "That's what he heard," and put the child's image in my mind along with the memory of the incident. Most of the kids I work with are accompanied by their parents to their